Good morning, all. Today we are going to discuss about arrays in C for a gate trading program. So arrays are most important in C programming. Let us discuss this topic in detail. So what is an array? An array is a collection of data items, all of the same type, accessed using a common name. So array is nothing but a collection of similar data elements, and it is a derived data type. And array is used to represent a list of numbers or a list of names. List of employees in an organization can be taken as an example. So there are various example test scores of a class of students, list of customers and the telephone numbers, and list of students in the college. So when you want to store more than one data or one element in a common memory or data structure, we can go for arrays. So arrays are very efficient to store the list of elements or list of data items. So we can take these examples. Uh, that is list of employees, a test scores of a class, list of customers, a list of students in the college, etc. And how the array can be declared. So declaration of arrays is going to have a data type and array name, and within the square bracket we have the array size. So this is the syntax given. So to declare an array in C, a programmer specifies a type of the element and the number of elements required by an array as follows. So first we have to mention the data type followed by array name and within square bracket array size. The array size must be an integer constant greater than 0. Data type can be any valid C data type. It might be a integer or character or a float or double, whatever it is. So to represent 100 students in a college, it can be the array representation can be given as int student within square bracket 100. So int is the data type and the student is the name of the array and 100 is the size of the array. So here student is array name and 100 is called as index or subscript. Initialization of arrays. You can initialize an array in C either one by one or using a single statement as follows. Int a of 5 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in order to initialize the value for the array, we should use the square curly brackets followed by semicolon. So here 5 elements are stored in an array. The number of values between the braces, braces cannot be larger than the number of elements that we declare for the array between square brackets. If you give the size of the array as 5, we need to declare the initial values with the 5 elements. If you are giving the size of the array as 10, means we need to declare the elements up to 10, right? So here these are the types of arrays. So when you go for types of arrays, there are 3 types. One is first one is one dimensional array, and the second one is two dimensional array, and third one is multi-dimensional array. One dimensional array is also known as 1D array. Two dimensional array is also called as 2D array. And multi-dimensional arrays, third one is multi-dimensional arrays. So let us discuss about one dimensional arrays, a variable which represents the list of items using only one index or subscript is called one dimensional array. For example, if you want to represent a set of 5 numbers, say 35, 40, 20, 57 and 19 by an array variable number, then the number is declared as follows: int number of 5. Here int, we are going to store the integer values in the array with size 5, and the name of the array is given as number. So the index starts with 0 and ends with 4. So the indices are 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So here the array size is 5, which is shown in the diagram clearly. And next one is, and the computer store those numbers as shown below. So number of 0, so number, so an array name is number, right? So index 0 gets the value 35, index 1 gets the value 40, index 2 gets the value 20, and index 3 gets the value 57, and index 4 gets the value 19. So here in this way the system stores the data in the declared array. So the values can be assigned to the array as follows: number of 0 is equal to 35, number of 1 is equal to 40, number of 2 is equal to 20, and number of 3 is equal to 57, number of 4 is equal to 19. So this is the basic initialization to be learned to give some elements when you are declaring the array. So next one is declaration of one dimensional array. So general form of array declaration is normally when we declare the array that belongs to the category of one-dimensional array. So we have the syntax as type array name within square bracket size. Here the type specifies the data type of elements contained in the array, such as int, float, or char, and the size indicates the maximum numbers of elements that can be stored inside the array. The size should be either a numeric constant or a symbolic constant. Now, so we need to mention the maximum number of data to be stored in the array when we are declaring the array with the type and name. So here the size should be either a numeric constant or a symbolic constant. And for example, int group of 10. So here int is a data type, group is a variable name or array name, and 10 is the size of the array, and the subscript index is starts from 0 to 9, right? And how to access the array elements? Accessing the array element plays an important role when you're trying to access a single data in C programming. It is very easy. Okay, we are going to access directly the address of that variable, and we can get the data. Whereas in case of array, in the same address, base address, it's going to start with the first element, and it grows. The size of the element grows in the same memory location, right? So we need to access or fetch the one by one element, right? So here we are taking the example. You can access the element of an array by indices. Example given as int mark of 5. Now suppose you declare an array mark as above. The first element is mark of 0, the second element is mark of 1. It goes on up to mark of 4, right? So mark of 0 holds 10, mark of 1 holds 20, 2 holds 30, mark of 3 holds 40, and mark of 4 holds 50, right? So that is what given mark of 0 is equal to 10, mark of 1 is equal to 20, etc. Right? Now, so how we are going to access the array, how we are going to take the element from an array, and how we are going to view the element, right? So here this accessing of array element can be um, uh, uh, can be the can be declared like this, and an array can be stored in following stages at compile time, at runtime. So here compile time initialization. In compile time initialization, the array is initialized when they are declared. The general form of initialization of array is type array name of size is equal to list of values. Then the list of values are separated by commas. So that is we have seen the example, such an example already. Int number of 3 is equal to 4 comma 5 comma 9 here. So we have seen such an example before, and here the array number of size is 3, and will assign 4 to the first element. That is number of 0 is equal to 4, and the number of 1, index 1 gets the value 5, and index 2 gets value 9. If the number of values in the list is less than the number of elements, then only that many elements will be initialized. The remaining elements will be set to 0 automatically. So here what is given us, if you are giving int number of 10, but at the right side we are declaring only, we are initializing only 5 values, means the remaining 5 values is going to be empty. So automatically that empty locations is going to get 0 automatically, right? So here we have such we have compile time initialization also. Int number, we are not going to mention any size of the array. Simply we are declaring some initial values at the right side, 1 comma 2 comma 3, 3 comma 4, right? So how many values are there at the right side? Only 4 values. Now the size of the array becomes 4. Here we are declaring the character array. So character array is also character array is declared with the keyword char space name. We are here also no size is mentioned, and within curly braces we are giving John, right? So J O H and N. So each and every character will be given within single quotes, and then the next character should be followed with a comma. So J comma O comma H comma N, right? So here, and this slash 0 is very important, mandatory, which denotes that we are going for the end of the data, right? So here that array ends with n, right or not? So after n we don't have any other element, so we are declaring that space with a slash 0. So the character array can be initialized as follows. The next one, char name is equal to, within double quotes. Now instead of giving that name John within each and every letter in a single quotes, we are giving all the letters, this word, in a double quotes. So in this way also we can declare the character array. So these are all the some examples shown which can be, the size of the array can be known only during the compile time. only during the compile time, right? So here runtime initialization. So next one is runtime initialization. So compile time initialization is before executing your program, the array size will be fixed with the help of that right side given values. So how many values are available at the right side, the same size is taken as the array size. The number of values is equal to array size, right or not? Here 1 2 3 4 means the array size is 4. For the character array, there are 4 letters, including a slash 0, there are 5 letters. So the size of the array name is 5. Here, here the size of the array is 4 for the third example, right? So next one, runtime initialization. Now, so here we are going to have the size of the array, or the size of the array will be known during the runtime. So in runtime initialization, the array is explicitly initialized at runtime. This concept generally used for initializing large arrays. For I is equal to 0, I less than 100, I plus plus. If I less than 50, sum of I is equal to 0.0, else sum of I is equal to 1.0. Here that we are passing that I value within this square bracket. So sum of I. So I starts with 0 and it will end with less than 100. So 0 to 100 means 0 to less than 100 means 0 to 99. Totally 100 values. So as many times this sum of I is going to get it is going to assign with some values. So this loop executes from starting from 0 to index 0 to index 99. So it is going to store the value into that array. The sum of 0 gets stored 0.0, then sum of 1 gets stored 0.0. When the condition I less than 50 is satisfied, else this sum of I is going to get 1.0. So the sum of 0 gets 1.0, again sum of 1 gets 1.0, and sum of 2 gets 1. It goes on. So here first 50 elements of the array sum are initialized to 0, and the remaining 50 elements are array initialized to 1 at runtime. So this is what we need to understand. Since the condition is satisfied, this condition will be satisfied up to 0 to 49, right? So for totally first 50 elements are going to initialize with value 0, and the next 50 locations are going to be initialized with value 1 at runtime. So the values will be known during only the runtime initialization. So what are the values which get stored in the array, which can be known only during the runtime or execution time? Okay, so this concept is very much important. And the next one, we are going to see some example program for single dimensional array. So here we are taking that example program to take 5 values from the user and store them in an array, print the elements stored in the array. So include here hash include, we are starting with the header file and void main, and here in the name of the array is the values, so which is a integer data type, then size of the array is 5, right? So enter 5 integers. So since we are going to assign the value, we are going to give the input values to the array, we need to start with index 0. So for int I equal to 0, so initially the for loop starts with the index 0. So for int I equal to 0, and up to fourth location we are going to give the values, right? So here we are giving the condition as in the for loop. In the conditional statements we have I less than 5, then I plus plus. So for each and every value gets inserted, the pointer has to be here, pointer has to be incremented from 0th location to first location to second location. It keeps on going till that the condition is satisfied. Now so for int I equal to 0, for index 0, it we are going to give the input values of I. So values of 0, ampersand of values of I. So that particular location going to get some values with the index 0, and likewise it get the value for index 1, it get the value for index 2, it get the value for index 3, and get the value for index 4 at last. When it comes to index 5, the condition is not satisfied, it comes out of the loop. And so here we have given some input values to the array, right? Now even though the values are given as get stored in the array, we need to display it, we need to view that values one by one, right or not? So in order to display those integer values, again we need to go for loop. So we for giving the input as well as for getting the output from the array, we need to use two separate looping statements. So it might be a while loop or do while loop or for loop, whatever it is, any looping statement can be used to access the values of arrays, right? So here the right side, for I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, we have a printf within a double quotes control string and values of I. Now what happens? First, values of 0. So values array name is a value. Values of 0 index holds some value, right or not? So when you see the output, the 5 integers entered are 1, -3, 34, 0 and 3, right? So the first values of 0 is going to hold 1. Values of 1 is going to store the value -3, and the values of 2 is going to store the element 34, and values of 3 is going to store the element 0, and values of 4 at last stores the element 3, which will be declared one by one here, one by one, which is shown in the output clearly. So this is the very simple example given to understand about arrays, right? How to insert values into the array using the loop, and how to get the values from the array using the loop. So this example clearly shows the accessing of array, so how the array values can be accessed, right? So here next one, we are going for another example. So for the single dimensional array or 1D array. So this 1D array is also known as a single dimensional array. So we need to we are going to discuss the another program to find the average of n numbers using array. And let us start with the initialization of array. So here the array name is marks, int marks of 10. So the size of the array is 10 here obviously, and the name of the array is marks and the type of the array is int. So here this array is going to hold the 10 integer values, right? So the remaining variables, necessary variables are declared in the same line, and the sum is equal to 0. Initialized, the variable sum is initialized with the value 0, average. So now we are going to enter some set of elements now. So it is not necessary that we need to enter all the 10 elements according to the size of the array. It is not necessary that all the 10 elements should be entered. So how many elements are required, that elements alone can be entered, the remaining elements will be left free, right? So here now enter the number of elements. So we are getting, suppose I'm going to enter only 6 elements. What happens? Only 6 elements get stored in the array, the remaining locations will be uh, left free, right or not? So I'm giving the number of elements is going to be 6. So n holds the value 6, right? So from 0 to less than n means less than 6. 0 to index 5, the element is going to be stored in the array, right? So here printf enter number I plus 1. So scan of percentage d ampersand of marks of I. Now what happens? Marks of 0, some value will be stored, and marks of 1, some value will be stored, and marks of 2, some value will be stored. So it is going to get some values from index 0 up to index 5. Since the number of elements we are going to enter is 6, totally 6 value means the indices are from 0 to 5, right? So all the 6 values get stored. Now we are going to find out the sum of the marks given. So sum is equal to sum plus marks of I. Okay, so what happened, whenever we are storing the elements, both the values get uh, will be added, and again it gets stored in the uh, uh, variable sum. So finally we are going to find out the final sum value. After adding all the 6 elements, we'll be getting the final added value, which gets stored in the variable sum. Now in order to find out the average, after getting out of the loop, we are declaring the average is equal to sum slash n. So whatever values is given in the sum, that will be divided by n. That result will be stored in average. Finally, we are going to display that average and return 0. So this is the very simple program how to find the sum of elements using an array. So when you look at the output, enter number of elements. Here 5 elements are entered. So what are the 5 elements? Enter number 1, enter number 2. So this enter number 1, number 2 will be given, will be displayed through this printf statement, 45, 35, 38, 31 and 49. And finally the average value is 39. So the output is going to be 39. So this is the next example given for understanding the single dimensional array. So next one is we are going to discuss about two dimensional arrays. Two dimensional arrays are also called as a 2D array. So a variable which represents the list of items using two indexes, subscript, is called a two dimensional array. And in a single dimensional array we have only one index or subscript, right or not? Only single line from index 0 to some up to the array size we have some indices, right? In case of two dimensional arrays we are going to have two index or subscripts, so it is called as a two dimensional array. In two dimensional arrays the data is stored in rows and columns format. For example, int table of 3 4 is within square bracket 3 and within square bracket 4 are given. Here the data type is going to be integer and the array name is table, and the size is given as a 3 and 4. So here 3 represents the number of rows and 4 represents the number of columns. So we are going to have totally 3 rows and 4 columns, right? So this is called as 3 T by 4 matrix. In matrix format we are going to store the elements in an array, so the same memory location will be declared as a matrix format um, representation. So we have row 0, row 1, row 2. Since the index starts with 0, from 0 0 to 0 row 2 we have, for a column we have indices from 0 to 3. So in row 0 and column 0 it holds the value of table of 0 comma 0, right? Next it holds the value, the row 0 and column 1 means table of 0 and column 1. In this way the value gets stored in an array, so the values are going to be get stored in this table format, which is shown clearly in the given example, right? So next one is a declaration of two-dimensional array. So the general form of two-dimensional array declaration is here. The syntax is given: type space array name, uh, in the first square bracket row size and second square bracket column size, semicolon. So here the type, specifies the data type of elements contained in the array, such as int, float, or char. The size should be either a numeric constant or a symbolic constant, as in the single dimensional array, right? So here the general form of initializing two dimensional array is seen, and we can initialize the values like a single dimensional array. For a two dimensional array also we can initialize some values. A type array name, row size, column size is equal to list of values. Here for example we can take the same array name int table 2 of 3, so 2 rows and 3 columns, right? So here we are having 2 by 3 matrix means it is going to hold totally 6 values. So all those 6 values are given at the right side within curly braces. So the 6 values are 0 0 0 and 1 1 1. So each and every value will be separated by commas. Here the elements of first row initializes to 0 and the elements of second row initializes to 1. This above statement can be written as, we can also write the same set of elements as uh, given like this. Within one curly bracket all the first row values can be given as separated by a comma, and within another curly bracket, a set of curly brackets, the second row values can be given, and this two row value can be um, clubbed into a left curly bracket and a right curly bracket. So in this way also we can initialize the value for array. So finally we are going to have the array values as in the first row 0 0 0 and the second row we have 1 1 and 1. And next one is initialization of a two-dimensional array, so in a different format, right or not? So we have seen this example. If the values are missing in an initializer, they are automatically set to 0. In this example given, there are no the row size is specified but column size is specified. Row size is given with the empty square bracket, whereas column size is given as 3. Even though this empty square bracket is there, at the right side we have three values, 0 0 0 and another one, three values 1 comma 1. So we need to have two rows. So automatically it takes the row size as 2 um, by seeing it right side assignment of the values. So here another example is given: int table of 2 comma 3 is equal to 1 comma 1 comma 2. Here first row initialized to 1 comma 1 1 and 2, whereas we don't have any value for second row at the right side. Automatically the second row holds all the, in all the locations it holds the value 0. So this is what happens automatically when you are trying to execute the this particular statement. Okay, so next one is memory layout of two-dimensional array. So in two-dimensional arrays the data is stored in rows and columns format. Mm, as I said previously, in int table 2 of 3 is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6. So 1 comma 2 comma 3 which will be stored in the first row, and 4 comma 5 comma 6 will be stored in the second row. So the memory layout of above example is a table of 0 0 is equal to 1, table of 0 1 is equal to 2, table of 0 2 is equal to 3. And it starts since the index the table of 1 comma 0 is equal to 4, table of 1 comma 1 is equal to 5, and table of 1 comma 2 is equal to 6. So in this way all the indices gets some value in its memory location. And let us see one example for two-dimensional array. If you see this matrix addition operation using a C language, we can better understand about a two-dimensional array. So we need to declare two arrays for holding the first array value, first matrix value, and second matrix value. So matrix A holds some value, matrix B holds some value, right? After adding these two matrices, the result has to be stored in the another third matrix. So initially we need to declare three matrices. What are they? Three matrices or three arrays, three two-dimensional arrays. Okay, first one is A matrix, second one is a B matrix, and third one is a C matrix. So the first matrix is called as array A, the second matrix is called as array B, and third matrix is called as array C. So A size is 2 by 3. So two rows and three columns. Obviously, 2 into 3 is equal to 6. It is going to hold six values. Likewise, in similar way, we are declaring the remaining two arrays also with the same size of row and same size of column. So now let us see how the value can be entered into in such an array, right? So printf enter the values for matrix. Since if the row size is 1, there are only one single line of data to be entered in an array, we can go for only one loop, right? Here we are entering the values with row and column format. So we need to have two for loops, two while loops. Whenever you are using looping statement for array accessing the array values, we need to use the looping statement. It might be a for loop or while loop or do while loop, whatever it is, but generally for array operations will be using the for loop. Here we need to have two for loops, one for accessing the row value and one for accessing the column value. So this row and column index, having this row and column indices only, we can access a particular element of that location, right? So here we are having two looping statement for I equal to 0, I less than 2, I plus plus. Since the index will be starting with 0 and it ends with 2. So for we are starting with for I equal to 0, I less than 2, I plus plus. Again, for accessing that column wise value, we need to have for j is equal to 0, j less than 3, and j plus plus. So scan of for this 0th and 0 0 location, we will be getting the first value. Then 0 and 1 location will be getting the second value. For 0 and 2 location, we'll be getting the third value. Now, one thing we need to understand, the second loop only will be gets incremented after the incrementation of second loop is over. It goes for the incrementation of the outer loop. So we have two loops here, one is the outer loop and one is the inner loop. So which is the outer loop? Outer loop is I equal to 0, I less than 2, I plus plus. Which is the inner loop? For j is equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus. So after the completion of inner loop iteration, it goes for the incrementation of outer loop iteration. This is what we need to understand. So here all this row and column will be accessed clearly by with the help of this loop, and the elements get stored um, in each and every location of the matrix. So after the values are entered, so we have entered the values for A matrix first. So in the similar way, we need to enter the value for B matrix. For what we have done for A matrix, same thing is followed for B matrix also. Same scanf statement. Here we are having ampersand of E of I of J. Instead of that, in this second looping, we are having ampersand of P of I comma J. That is getting the values for B matrix. After all the values have been entered, we need to add the A matrix values and B matrix value, and the result should be stored in C matrix, right? Again, we are going for the looping, another looping to inner loop and outer loop with for I equal to 0, I less than 2, and j equal to 0, j less than 3. Now what happens? C of I j is equal to A of ij plus B of ij. So what happens? A matrix value and B matrix value will be stored, will be added and gets stored in the empty matrix C, right? So each and every location of C matrix gets the added value. added value. So when this loop gets executed, finally we have, so all the values are calculated and it gets stored in the C matrix. So finally we need to display the values stored in the C matrix. In order to display the values, again we are going for the looping statement. Again we are using the two loops again, and in order to show the output, we are using the printf statements here, giving the slash n. So then by the next line we will be getting the data which gets calculated, which gets added at last. um, so here when you see this program, we are having so many for loops here, but it is very easy to understand that in order to get the input for the matrix format, we need to use two for loops. So when you are giving to input for a array, means two for loops are used. For giving input for b array, again two for loops are used. For adding the values and stored in a C value, again two for loops are used. Totally six for loops are used here, and for displaying the another two for loops are used. So here, with the help of this looping statements only, we can perform any kind of operations in a two-dimensional array. So it might be a matrix addition or matrix subtraction. That is all the arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, whatever, and transpose of a matrix, a diagonal of matrix. So whatever be the matrix operation that will be performed using this two-dimensional array, right? So let us see the output, screenshot of the output, what we have got. We are entering some values for matrix A, that is 1 2 3 and 4 5 6, and we are entering the values for matrix B, 2 4 6 and 5 3 8. After entering all these values, it gets added, and the result will be stored in C matrix. Finally we are displaying the values of matrix C. So the values of matrix C are 3 6 9 and 9 8 and 14 finally. So this is an important and basic matrix operation to be learned in order to perform the further operations what we are going to perform on the matrices, right? So matrix addition plays addition is very important program in case of two-dimensional array, right? So next one is when you see the output like this, so we have some element addition of two matrix using C. We are having 3 by 3 matrix. So the first matrix can be named as X or A or whatever it is, and second matrix also is a 3 by 3 matrix, that is 3 rows and 3 columns. And adding these two matrices, the right side shows the added value. So we are getting all the values as 10 here. This is the final output for this matrix. This can be done manually. So when we are entering this input using the program, the same output will be displayed. The same output can be received, right? So next one is this example shows the subtraction of matrices. In similar way, instead of using that plus symbol, we are using the minus symbol here. Like same thing, we are having 3 by 3 3 matrix for A and 3 by 3 matrix for B. Both gets we are going to find out the difference between these two matrices, that is subtracted values. And after the subtracted value is available, we are having the values with the sign minus 8, minus 6, minus 4, along with the signs. We are having the output elements. So this is the subtraction of two matrix using C. So matrix addition and matrix subtraction program can be, if you write the matrix addition program by changing the plus symbol, instead of plus symbol, if you are giving minus symbol, we can go for subtraction operation. But matrix multiplication is totally different. So for multiplying the values, we will be multiplying the first matrix row and second matrix column, right? According to that, we need to write the logical statements for performing the matrix multiplication operation. So next one is a multi-dimensional arrays. So we have seen so far a single dimensional array and two dimensional array. Now let us discuss about multi-dimensional arrays. A variable which represents the list of items using more than two index is called a multi-dimensional array. So that is more than two index means more than two subscripts, right? The general form of multi-dimensional array is a type array name S1, S2, S3, it goes up to Sn, where S is the size. Some examples are int survey of 3, 6, 3, 5 and 6, float table 5, 4, 5, 3. So here we are going to have the we have discussed that in two-dimensional array, the elements will be stored in the matrix format, right? Here we are going to store the elements in a grid format, a multi-line grid formats. So generally when we are doing the programming, we will be normally using the single dimensional and two-dimensional array. So for doing some complex set of programs, very complicated calculations, mathematical expressions to be calculated, we need to go for this multi-dimensional arrays. So these are some examples shown here. Here survey is a three-dimensional array, and table is a four-dimensional array, right? So we can have more than two dimensions, right or not? So the survey is a three-dimensional array here, and the table is a four-dimensional array. So here let us see the applications of arrays. So using pointers for accessing arrays, passing arrays as function parameters, arrays are numbers of structures. So we can use arrays for uh, we can use the arrays for passing the parameters, arrays as members of structures, and we need to have some pointers for accessing arrays. A very important concept, that is, without the pointers we cannot access any values from the array. Okay, so using structure type data as array elements, array as dynamic data structures, manipulating character arrays and strings. When you go for structure, array is a collection of similar set of elements. Likewise, a structure is a collection of dissimilar set of elements. Even though we can have array of structures, so we can have more than one structure. So that structure can be declared with a array declaration format. So we can apply this array concept in any other C concept like structure, pointers, functions, wherever it's applicable, these arrays are used. And let us have this overview of an array. So far we have discussed what is an array, definition of an array, and example of arrays. Array, how the array can be declared initially. Normal declaration belongs to the type of single dimensional array, and we have seen the example here. And array, how the array can be initialized. The initialization of array is an important thing to be remembered. So whenever we want to give some set of elements initially, during declaration itself, we can initialize the values for the array. And next one is types of arrays. We have seen three types of arrays: one dimensional, two dimensional, and multi-dimensional arrays. And here so we have seen various examples, simple examples, how the single dimensional or one dimensional array can be declared using the statement int some array name and some array size. We have seen the syntax, and there are some example programs also discussed. And for accessing the array, which can be accessed during runtime or compile time, how it can be accessed during compile time, how it can be accessed during runtime. And we have seen the runtime initialization, compile time initialization, everything. And next we have seen some example programs, very important, and simple example programs using C language for understanding the array concept well. We have seen two example programs for single dimensional array. For multi-dimensional array, we have the matrix addition operation as an example. Before that, we have seen how we have declared the, how can we declare the two-dimensional array, how the values can be initialized for two-dimensional array, and what are the ways we have to initialize the values for two-dimensional arrays. And we have seen how the value gets stored in what format here we can understand it better. So in two-dimensional array, the elements will be stored in table format. So since the table has some rows and columns, we can say it is a matrix format, right? So we have seen this example programs. So in the example programs for two-dimensional array, we are using several for looping statement, for loop statements, and this is the output of this two-dimensional array. And how this can be done manually, how the addition is done manually, that is shown here. And in similar way of addition of two matrices, we have seen the subtraction of two matrices. So several such matrix operations can be done with the help of two-dimensional array. And multi-dimensional array, even though the arrays are very efficient, very easy to understand, very easy to use, we have several disadvantages also. So what are the main disadvantages of array? Before going for discussion of this gate questions asked regarding the array concept, we have to discuss about the limitations, advantages we have. It is very efficient. We need to discuss about the limitations also. So when you go for limitations, since the first main thing is, since the size of the array is fixed, we cannot give more elements beyond the size of the array. So if I declare the array size as 10, if I want to enter more than 10 element, it is not at all possible. So beyond the size of the limit of the array, we cannot give any elements. In similar way, if you are declaring the array size as 100, but we are inserting only 5 or 6 elements, the remaining locations gets wasted. So the wastage of memory is a very common drawback of using array. So we can waste whenever we are declaring the very huge size of the array, but we are using only very small locations, the remaining size gets wasted. So memory wastage is very common in case of array. And moreover, even though insertion of element and performing various operations of in an array is efficient, but when the array size grows, when the array size is larger, doing such operations become very tedious. It takes long time. So it becomes a time consuming process. For example, we have 1,000 elements in an array. If I want to remove the 400th element, means it has to search from the first element. It has to reach the 400th element. After the 400th element gets deleted, what happens, that the space becomes empty. So we need to fulfill that empty space by skipping the next forthcoming elements in a previous position. So up to the 1,000 element, all the elements get shifted at the left side. Likewise, for insertion of even one element in between that 1,000 elements, where the in which location when the element gets inserted, and the next location elements have to be shifted right one position. So it takes a long time. So it becomes a long consuming process. This is the main drawback of using an array. Okay, so in order to overcome this drawbacks, we are going for an efficient, very easy to use, very um, that is a dynamic memory allocation, that is known as a linked list concept. Okay, so here array follows it is the static memory allocation. Array is nothing but the static memory allocation, whereas linked list is a dynamic memory allocation. Dynamic memory allocation means the size will not be known in prior. It is not known during a compile time. So the size of that memory will be known only at the runtime. How many elements we are going to enter during the runtime? During that time only the size of that memory will be known, right? So in case of array, the sizes are fixed before itself, before executing the program or before running the program. So it can be known prior to the execution time. So here, even though the array has various advantages, it has its own limitations also. In order to overcome this limitation, we are going for the concept of linked list data structure. Right. So now next one is um, let us discuss some gate questions on array. Okay. So the first question is, a program P reads in 500 integers in the range 0 to 100, representing the course of 500 students. It then printed the frequency of each score above 50. What would be the best way for P to store the frequency? So what is going to be the answer? We are going to read 500 integers in the range 0 to 100. Now, in order to have uh, the array size is 100 here, right or not? But we need to read 500 integers. So here representing the course of 500 students. If it then print the frequency of each score above 50, what would be the best way for P to store the frequencies? The various options are given. Answers are given: array of 50 numbers, an array of 100 numbers, and an array of 500 numbers, a dynamically allocated array of 550 numbers. Now let us see what is going to be the answer. Um, so we are having the answer as uh, an array of 50 numbers. So we are having the answer as an array of 50 numbers. So here what happens means, um, in order to have, so the frequency of each score above 50 means the answer is going to be an array of 50 numbers. So the next question is, Consider the following C program. So include a we are starting with the program with a header file here. What is the name of the array is 4, and it is a two-dimensional array, right? With the size 4 and 5. So 4 by 5 matrix, that is number of rows are 4 and number of columns are 5. And for this number of rows and columns, we are initializing some values with the curly braces, as we have seen as previously. So the same using that same kind of initialization concept, every row values will be separated with curly braces, right? Here we are having this asterisk of a plus asterisk a plus 2. Here we need to understand about what is this asterisk here represents the value. So value of a plus and the pointer value of a, asterisk a plus 2 plus 3. Now let us discuss this problem clearly. Now what happens? So it takes the value 19. So how we are getting the answer as 19? So where the 19 is available in the given declaration. So when you take the first row, the 19 is not available. When you take the second row, 19 is not available. When you take the third row, 19 is not available. When you take the fourth row, 19 is available. So what is the location of that fourth row, that the value 19 in the format of rows and columns? Can we can so if you take this values, first row values, one is available at a of 0 0, right? Two is available at a of 0 1, and 3 is available at a of 0 2, right? Likewise, and the 16 is available at a of 3, right? 0 1 2 3. So a of 3, a of 3 0 holds 16, a of 3 1 holds 17, a of 3 2 holds 18, and a of 3 4 holds a of 3 4 holds what? 19 value. So here in this point, with using this pointer concept, we can access this particular location and we can get the answer as 19. The correct answer is going to be the 19. So let us see. So let us see one more gate question here. Let us read out this gate question. And a single array A, and a single array A of one max size, and single array A of one max size is used to implement two stacks. The two stacks grow from opposite ends of the array. Variables top 1 and top 2. Top 1 less than top 2 point to the location of the topmost element in each of the stacks. If the space is to be used efficiently, the condition for stack fullness. Now, why this stack question is included here? Even the stack is going to be implemented using an array. Now, in order to understand the concept of array in a better way, so here the any data structure can be implemented either using the array or linked list, right? So when you are implementing any data structure using array or linked list, here it is categorized as a dynamic memory allocation and static memory allocation. um, so when you have dynamic memory allocation, we should use like a linked list data structure. When you want to use static memory allocation, we need to go for array declaration. So likewise, when you take either array or linked list, whichever is efficient for any given data structure, in order to implement for implementation, we can take any kind of data structure like a stack or linked list. For example, um, the given example, we have the array named as array. So one equal to max size. The size going to be anything, right? Used to implement two stacks. What happens? The two stacks grow from opposite ends of the array. We are going to have only one array location named as array. At the left end also we are inserting the element one by one. At the right end also we are going to insert the element one by one. So what happens? The array is going to store from left to right. The array is going to grow from left to right as well as from right to left. So if you take max size as 100 means we have 0 to 99 locations, right? So from 0 to 10th location, I am going to store some set of elements from 100 and 99, 98 and 97 up to 90th location. At the right side, we are going to store some elements. So at the both the ends of the array, we are going to store the elements. Imagine that an array is declared with the name A with some max size, and having that array, we are trying to insert the element from left to right as well as from right to left. That is what is pointed out, that is two stacks grows from opposite ends of the array. So variables top one and top two. Now listen here. Since we have two stacks in a same array, right or not? We have two pointers as top one and top two. So if top one less than top two, point to the location of the topmost element in each of the stack. If the space is to be used efficiently, the condition for stack full is what? So when the stack is going to be filled, now uh, let us take some 10 size of the array is 10 here. Now when the stack is going to be full, how you will check the stack full condition? When the top pointer reaches the array size -1, the stack is going to be full. Already we have discussed this concept, right? So here top minus 1, sorry, top is equal to array size -1. Likewise, if top 1 is equal to top 2 -1, so then we can declare the statement as the array is the stack is full. That is what how we can say it is array is full means stack full, array full, both are same, since we are applying the properties and rules of the stack in an array. So we can either say stack full or array full. So this kind of questions, when you get such a questions um, like this regarding any data structure, or generally that data structure can be compared with that implementation part, either with the array or linked list. So the reading out that data structure is sorry, reading out the question is very important, and understand the what sort of data structure is asked in the with the help of the implementation part. So this is very important. And here so here we have many such questions regarding the concept of array. So we have discussed some example questions which is asked in the GATE exam. The first one is first this is the first one. We have seen some ranges given here with how we can have 500 integer values with the size of 0 to 100. So this answer is an array of 50 numbers. And second question is having this one printf statement, how a particular value can be accessed. I will get a plus 3 16 plus 3 gives 19. So here from this 16th location, so we have 19 value 19. So that is what are shown in the next example. And in the this third one, in this particular question, this array can be understood better related to the stack implementation concept. So here any data structure, as I said, any data structure can be implemented either using array or linked list, right or not? So using the array, um, how the stack can be implemented at the both the sides of the array. So this is one whenever we see the question, it may look like it's very difficult to difficult, but when you read out once and manually if you draw some array and put some values, you can understand it better and you can easily answer such questions. So you need to keep in mind that always a stack full is going to have array size -1. If you have in the given answer, if you have such statement as -1, wherever it comes there, we can apply that answer. We can apply that answer. That is going to be the correct answer at last. So here they are confusing us with the top one is equal to max size /2 and top two is equal to max size /2 plus 1. Top 1 plus top 2 is equal to max size. Nothing is going to be applied. So stack full condition is the exceptional condition, right? Whenever we want to insert some element in an array, we need to check whether the array get filled or not, right? Likewise, here the top pointer always it reaches the maximum limit when all the elements get filled. So how it will be applied now, when it reaches the top two pointer -1 means obviously top point one pointer gets filled. That is what the answer. So we can logically think, we should think logically how it is applied. We need to have some assumptions, that is we need to declare the array, where the array gets stored some values, where the point is going to be having such assumptions, we can answer such questions. So here, so we have discussed the array concept, from the basic concepts of array and its types, everything along with the gate questions also. So next one is, we have discussed so many questions, with a proper answer, how it can be, how the answer can be found out, right? So here I hope, next one is, here I'm going to end the session. Thank you all for your cooperation. Hope the session is useful to you, and thank you all. So this concept of array is very much important in case of any programming. Basically, if you learn this array concept using an array, we can using C programming language. When the array is understandable using C programming language, we can learn we can apply this array concept when we are learning any kind of programming languages. Thank you, students. Thank you all.